It's up.
And it's hot. It's boiling sugar. It's very hot.
I had to slow myself. So there were
So,
steps and stages to everything that I had to make myself
yes.
mentally change. And it did make it easier. It took the tenseness out of me.
So we're going over here. I'm just going to show the board real quick. So we're going over, once again, Satya, Metta, Kanti, Vidya, Ubeka. So most people know, if you've been watching, that Satya is truth, and it's truth inside of yourself. Metta is loving kindness, which is the best way we can describe metta, but it's really, giving of yourself to yourself and to others. Kanti, patience. And this is a big one because we don't have patience with ourselves hardly ever. And so and we were talking just now about slowing down. Slow down. Don't be in a hurry. Take your time and just be patient. Because if you do that, it's like a weight lifts off of you and you're able to do things and you're able to think about the thoughts that you have before you take action on them. And that's important because that's mindfulness, that's sati. And if you think about what your thoughts are, what you're thinking prior to engaging in any activity, just think about it. Okay, what am I thinking? And why am I thinking this? Because a lot of times we start thinking stuff that isn't very nice about ourselves. And so we have to take a step back and say, is that truth? No, it's not true. I'm angry with myself. Why am I angry with myself? And you have to start evaluating your own self inside yourself. See, everybody has to do this for themselves. I give you these tools all the time because they were given to me and I use them and they work and I know they work. And so if you use these tools, you will eventually come out of suffering and you will be in peace. But if you don't use them, you're going to continue in the same, chaos that you've been in your entire life. And it's really not that hard. It takes a little bit of time. It takes patience and it takes effort. Effort. So this is important because if you don't give the effort, then you're giving your effort to everything under the sun but yourself. And this is true. Everybody does this at first. And I have to remind them, you have to give effort for yourself. Like, this is important. And I know, like, some have children, some have husbands or wives, some have, friends they got to deal with. But if you don't take care of yourself first, you cannot take care of them. It's really very difficult. I mean, you can give it a stab at it and try, and we all, I tried and I didn't do very good at it. I can tell you that. I have a daughter, she's now 40. But when I was raising my daughter, I was in utter chaos inside myself. And it shows, my daughter is angry with me now because of that. And I'm speaking truth. It's, I can't sugarcoat that. It's absolutely true. I was in chaos and it created chaos in my daughter's life. She was a young child and now she's angry about the chaos that I created in her life because she was young. She didn't know how not to be in chaos when I was in chaos. But we're giving a gift to everybody when we come out of our chaos and when we stop our suffering. We're not only giving a gift to us, but we're giving it to everybody who knows us. And it's really a very beautiful gift. I know that in my life, it changed everything in my world, you know, to a better place, you know. It didn't change it to a worse place. It changed it to a better place. And now I have the ability to help others hopefully get to a point where they're not in suffering anymore. And what happens is one by one, if we do it for ourselves, then we can help someone else do it for themselves. But we can't do that until we do it for ourselves, because then we're just showing them more chaos. You know, that's what happens. So the last one is called Ubbeka, and that is equanimity or balance. It means that you've come out of this upside down and you're in an even space. And all these things, you know, it sounds like a lot. It's only 5, but when you do the first one, when you speak truth to yourself and you stay in truth inside yourself, the next one automatically happens. Metta, loving kindness, like it starts happening inside you. You don't really have to do a whole lot other than speak truth to yourself. And then the kindness starts happening. And once that kindness starts happening, you start automatically having patience. Like it happens like that automatically. Roger's laughing because he knows it's true. And like you don't even realize that it's happening until you're like, oh my God, I'm not angry anymore. I'm not suffering anymore. This is beautiful, you know, but you have to do the first step, truth inside yourself. Like it's painful to speak truth to yourself. You don't want to speak it at first. Like you're like, no, I don't want to tell myself that. You know, I really don't. But I've had to speak so much truth, not only to myself, but to other people, that now it's a relief and it creates non-suffering. I know that if I speak only truth, you know, sometimes people don't want to hear what I have to say. Sometimes people don't want to say, hear truth about themselves, you know, but I speak truth about everyone. You know, this is the way it is. And as as bad as it can be when I speak truth, it eliminates your suffering when you do it inside your own self. It it really does. And so that's the number one thing. And as you do that, it will create loving kindness in you. You will start to see it. You will start to speak it because that is the truth.
I couldn't show myself personally because when we went through my issues, I was frustrated because well, I was angry too, but I was frustrated because when Kim said you need to speak truth to yourself and show yourself loving kindness, one of the biggest of my personal frustrations was like, how do I show myself loving kindness? And this is a big push that she helped me with, to show myself, because she would tell me, you're not being kind, it's not kind. And I would say something about myself, or she was like, don't say that around me because you're putting yourself down and we're all part of each other. So you're kind of putting me down too. You know, so speaking the truth took a lot to admit to myself and know what the truth was. Because there's a little nit right down in here that will help you know that when you're not.
Oh, you know inside yourself, because
You'll argue.
Yes, you'll argue with yourself inside your own mind, you know, and the truth is the one that's going, no, no, that's not true. You know, you can feel it inside of yourself. And when you're not speaking truth, you don't feel good.
And when you do start being kind to yourself, it does feel good, and you start doing it. And now it's easy for me to make choices to be kind to myself.
Yeah. It's a process, and it takes a little bit of work, effort. This is the really, I think, other than truth, the second biggest thing is the effort, because most people don't give an effort for themselves. They give effort for everyone else in the world. You know, they take care of everybody else in the world, but they do not take care of themselves. They don't give an effort for themselves. You know, meditation class should be your number one priority, because you're going to get healing in that hour and a half that once a week you have. That should be a priority for you, because that will give you tools to use throughout your entire week. So if you make that a priority, then the next day when you wake up, you have a few more tools in your toolbox to use, and you're starting to use them. And this is just being kind to yourself. This is truth. Be kind. Take that time, make that your priority, because this is your way out. It's your way out of suffering. And I can tell you, I suffered most of my life. I tried to kill myself more than once. I'm being real, I'm speaking truth. I tried to kill myself more than once. Would I do that today? No way. There's no way in this world. I love myself and I love everyone in the world. And there's no way I would take my own life. But there was a time where I was suffering so badly where I didn't want to live anymore. But you don't have to be that. There's a way out. And it's really simple, but we make it complicated inside ourselves. But it's not complicated. And you can do it in the privacy of your own mind. Like, that's where you do it. The work takes place inside of you, nowhere else, But if you don't take the time to really be honest with yourself, like truthful, take a minute, evaluate. Is that true or not true? I'm not feeling it so good in here. So I know that's probably not a truth. Let me look for the truth, and like, you can always call me and go, I'm having an issue with truth here, and I will speak truth to you. And believe it or not, somehow I know the truth, even when people are trying to tell me what they think is their truth, I know what the truth is. And I know what they're saying is not true, no matter what it is. I don't know why, but because I see the truth in myself, I can see it in everyone. And so if you need help with that, I can help you. I can give you little tips, and I can speak the truth to you, and I can help you. So this is all about you doing you and not doing everybody else. Really, that's what it's about. You have to fix yourself. And in fixing yourself, something very magical happens. Like, it's unbelievable when you fix yourself. It's like the world around you changes and becomes this magical place. And we don't recognize it because we've been caught up. But the minute you start having that peace inside and having loving kindness for yourself, you start to see it. And then you do more for yourself because you've seen it. You got a little taste of it. And that little taste will take you to the next place. So truth, you speak truth. Next thing that happens is loving kindness, automatic. It just happens automatically. But you got to get truth down. It can't be half truth. You speak a half truth, it's like a lie. Half truth is just a lie. We've been taught in America that speaking half truth is okay. Sugarcoating it, it's okay. Makes it okay. It's not okay. It's not okay because you're not being true to yourself. And it's got nothing to do with anybody else. It has to do with you. So there's something called the Four Noble Truths. And what those are is, do you know? You can look.
Listen, there's suffering.
There is suffering.
Suffering.
There's a cause for suffering.
And then there's a path to end suffering.
Yes.
And then I don't remember the
Suffering ends.
Yeah, the suffering ends.
Yes.
Nailed it.
And then the way to get there is the Eightfold Path. So this 5 Satya, Metta, Kanti, Vidya, Becca, they're pretty much what that Eightfold Path is, So it's the right view, which is speaking the truth. This is your way out. This is like if you went to somebody and said, look, I'm in so much suffering, I need a way out. This is your ticket. This is it. This is the way out. And it's really very simple. Right view, which is speaking truth. Right. Can you read those?
Right thought.
Right thought. Sati, you got to know what your thoughts are.
Right speech.
Right speech. So you're talking to yourself.
Right action.
Right action. What are you doing?
Right livelihood.
You can't be out there, stealing and robbing because it's not. That's going to create bad stuff for you. Okay.
The right effort.
Effort. Vidya, we got it right there. Okay.
Right mindfulness.
Mindfulness.
And then right concentration.
Concentration. So you got to take a minute. You can't just willy-nilly go about and not think about what you're doing. You have to stop and go, okay, let me take a breath. The breath of life. The breath that cleanses everything inside you. See, I held a impromptu meditation the other day, didn't I? And because I did a meditation and I saw it and I'm like, oh, this is too good not to share. So, and by the way, I need to add you to our Line app so you'll get these. So if you want. Okay, so, and what that meditation was I was sitting outside and I could feel almost like the breath of the trees, like the wind blew a little bit and the leaves on the trees started to rustle. And when I took a breath in, I could literally, it was like the trees were saying, here you go. I'm giving you breath, oxygen, so that you can heal inside your body. And then when I took a breath and let it out, the leaves rustled again. And it was like they were thanking me because that was their oxygen. And that's what they need to create my oxygen. And it was like we were sharing. I know it kind of sounds crazy, but the trees and I were sharing a moment in time where we were healing each other. And it was almost magical because if you sit in silence and you take that breath in and you follow it into your body, you can feel that breath is healing you. Like that is taking oxygen that we need. We can't live without oxygen. And going into every cell in your body at that moment in time. And as you breathe out, you're getting rid of toxins that are in your body. So it's really very beautiful when you think about it, but we don't take the time to think about it because we're in a hurry when we're breathing every day. We don't stop and go, I'm actually breathing life into my own body, It's very beautiful. And so if we take time and think about things happening inside our own self, it's like magic. But we don't take the time. So I'm speaking truth to you, right? I'm speaking truth. Take time, take a minute, take 5 minutes if you can, take more if you can, because the more time you take, the more you heal. This is truth. The more time you take to calm your mind, the more you heal. And the more time you take to calm your mind and really speak truth in it and see what your thoughts are, the more you can redirect your thoughts. Like there's a purpose. Meditation isn't about quieting the mind, because how are you going to do that? There's no way to do that. It's about looking at the thoughts that are coming into your mind, taking a minute and going, oh, what is that? Sometimes we have some crazy thoughts, right? We're like, and we don't even know. It's just going on and on and on. And then all of a sudden we're like, wait, what am I thinking about? What is that? Why am I thinking
How
that?
did I get here?
Yeah.
Well, it was just like when I was in Thailand and I spoke to you when I was trying to meditate, and I was like, I'm getting frustrated with trying to meditate because I thought in my mind, because of the martial arts side of things, I was thinking that I had to get rid of all thoughts and just be in an emptiness. And I kept having these thoughts pop in, and I told Kim, I says, I'm trying to meditate, but I can't because I keep having these thoughts. And I said, I'm trying to get rid of all of them. And she says, why? I said, because when I meditate, I don't want to have any thoughts. I want to get rid of everything and not have it. And she said, well, how are you going to know what you're thinking if you don't look at your thoughts? And I said, but I don't want. She said, you can't get rid of the negative thoughts if you don't look at them and say, oh, I don't need that, so boom,
Yeah.
I'll get rid of it.
And the thing of it is that nobody ever doesn't have any thoughts. Like that's impossible. That's an impossible task that you're trying to do. And it's not about that. It's about quieting everything down so you can see what you're doing. What are you actually doing to yourself? And then do you want to do that? Or do you want to do something else? And then you're evaluating and you're taking time to let yourself know, okay, that wasn't so good. That made me feel not so good. So let me let go of that. And how do we let go of it? Anybody know how to let go?
Just breathe and let go.
Yeah, let it go.
Be in the moment. And not,
bring yourself here. Take a breath. If you take a breath, you will stop thinking about whatever it was. Immediately. It happens very quickly.
You're thinking about your breath and taking it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, a lot of it, I was like, well, how do I get rid of it if it's there? But just focusing on breathing itself.
So if you take a breath and follow your breath, you can't have two thoughts at once. It's impossible. You cannot have two thoughts at once. So if you take a breath and you go, let me look at my breath, already that thought is gone. And it will only come back if you bring it back, and you begin to have control over your own self. Like that's the practice. That's the meditation. That's what you're doing. But if you're always in a hurry and you're always doing something outside of yourself and you never give yourself that time to quiet everything and to look at inside your own self, then you can't grow. You're in the fast lane. You're speeding down the highway, trying to get somewhere, and you keep getting cut off, right? Like there's cars keep cutting you off because that's your own self. So take time for yourself. Take a minute relax. Don't be in such a hurry. What's the hurry? Like, we're all going to be here until we're dead. And we don't know when that is, but we know that we're going to be here until we die, right? So what's the hurry? Why are we rushing around everywhere? Why are we trying to do it so quickly? Like, don't you know that when you try to do something fast, you're always going to make a mistake? Mistakes are going to happen when you're in a hurry. But when you slow it down and you're thinking about what you're doing as you're doing it, let me think about this, okay? You know, how many times do you get in the car, start it up, and start driving, and you don't even know that you put the key in the ignition? Like, you just all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. We do it all the time. You know, take a shower. We get out of the shower. We don't even know what we did in the shower. You know, like, we're in a hurry all the time and we're not present.
There
We're
were
not-
times I got out of the shower and there was soap in my belly button still. I get mad.
So it's like, if you know, if you take time, if you slow down and allow yourself to be present, thinking about everything you're doing, like, think about it. Think about what you're going to say and why you're saying it. Like, really think about it. Is there a purpose? Like, I don't know how many times I said to Roger in Thailand, you know, what are you saying? Why are you saying it? Is there a purpose for it?
And a lot of times I was just monkey-minded because it was in my head and I let it fly out of my mouth.
But if you stop and you, like, before anything comes out, you think about what you're going to say and what the purpose is, why you're saying it. What is it? What is the purpose? What do you want to achieve with speaking this?
What is the fold path? Like, what is the origin of that? Is that name like a
An
acronym for something, or
the Eightfold Path.
yes,
There's-
eightfold path? What is that?
That exactly
Truth.
that.
Oh, it's
It's
just eight
eight
paths.
eight
Okay.
eight things that you have to do. You have to have the right view, the right thought, the right action. These are things that, if you do them, you're freedom.
That big book that you gave us, isn't Eightfold Path in that?
Yes,
Did it
it's in
explain-
there, yes.
That big book you got. You
Yes.
still have it, right?
There's the printout.
Yes. It's really, you know, I've made it very simple. Master Boomni made it simple for me. It's those 5 things. It's condensed into 5 things right there. Pretty much that's what it is. You see, truth, loving kindness, patience, effort, and balance. That right there equals this.
And it's basically what you're talking about when you say practice, right?
Yes.
Do those things, practice those things every day.
Make it, look, Master Boomni used to say, make it simple. Like, he did not make it simple for me because he didn't speak English, okay? So he only spoke Pali words or Thai, but I had to learn like that. I wrote these things down as he spoke in another language. And I have a friend, Tom, would go with me every now and then, and Master Boomni would give me little glimpses while Tom was there. And he said to me, make it simple. If you don't make it simple, you won't do it. So make it simple. So I'm going to break it down. This week, today, this moment, speak truth to yourself. Period. That's the end of the story right there. Nothing else. Start with that. When you master that, loving kindness will appear automatically. It's that simple.
Loving kindness to yourself will appear.
Yes.
'Cause you
Well,
can't-
this is all about you. This is not about anybody else. This is about you doing you.
Yeah, because I was trying to figure out how to have loving kindness for everybody else because I was angry. But it had to start with me
Yes,
first. And
yes.
I-
All of this has nothing to do with anyone else.
And I find that's I do loving kindness for myself, even though the other day when we talked, I wasn't being loving to myself because I started getting I was taking on somebody else's stuff that I think Kim was like, you're not being kind to yourself. And I had to stop. And every time Kim speaks truth to me and I see it for myself, I start laughing.
Mhm. So this is what you have to do. Like, number one, truth. Number one, don't do anything else. Don't try to move forward because you will not be able to. Just do truth to yourself. That's it. Don't try to tell everybody else your truth. That's not necessary. You do truth to you. Speak it inside of yourself. Period. Try that for a week. Every time you get a little crazy inside of yourself, angry or frustrated or resentful, whatever, every time you get one of those emotions going on, stop and speak truth. Because the truth doesn't lie outside of you. The truth is actually inside of you. We want to blame it on something outside of us. We want to blame our anger, our frustration, our resentment, or whatever it is on something outside of us. It's not. That's not a truth. And it's a lie that you've told yourself all your life. When you start taking that and going, no, that's not true. Let me look at the truth. What's going on inside of me? And really what happens is we start to see that we don't feel good about ourselves. We start to see that we're blaming them because we're angry with ourselves. We're blaming them because we did something inside our own. And then when you start to see that inside yourself, you start to heal yourself. But you actually have to stop and make yourself look at it. I don't care what happened. If you say someone pissed you off or made you mad, that is a lie. Plain and simple. Because no one can do that. They cannot make you mad. The thought you have about what they're doing is what's making you mad. It's not what that person is doing. It's the thought you're having about what they're doing. And be clear on this, because if you blame someone else, how can you ever fix yourself? If you say it's someone else's fault, you can never fix yourself. But if you say, okay, I'm thinking this thought and it's creating this in me. There you go. You start the healing process right away. And then you can say, I'm going to let that thought go. I'm not going to maintain that one because it's harming me. It's making me feel not good. So the truth is, whatever they're doing has nothing to do with me. And I can let it go because that's their garbage, not mine. But the minute you make their garbage yours, you go into suffering. And then you say it's their fault. But really, you had an option. You always have an option, whether you take their junk and bring it into you and make it yours, or whether you let it go. Roger had that experience this week. I had to remind him of this. Because it's easy to blame someone else and get all caught up in their garbage. But it's not necessary, and it takes your peace away. And it happens quick because you're not being mindful about your thoughts. It's got nothing to do with the other person. It's the thoughts you have in your own mind. And that's what's creating your suffering. Be clear on it. Because then you have the power to change whatever it is. And I'm telling you, it's very powerful. When you do that, it's like you're unstoppable then. You have the power to be in happiness the rest of your life. And it's beautiful. And what happens is the people around you, most of the time, want to be in that happiness too. They're like, dude, how did you get that? I want that. I want some of that. But the problem is that a lot of times people don't want to do their own work. They want to ride on your happiness. You cannot let people ride on your happiness because that will create suffering in you. Guaranteed. They can have their own happiness. You don't need to give them yours. I'm not saying don't be happy with people. What I'm saying is don't let them suck your energy and make you feel tired. You ever been around somebody you're happy when you go in and everything's good, and by the time you leave, you're exhausted?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're riding on your happy energy.
Emotional vampires.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
And you don't need to do that. You need to say, oh, time for me to go. See, that's what you need to do. You need to take care of you. This is taking care of your own self. I'm not saying don't be kind to people. I'm saying don't let them suck your energy so when you leave, you're just exhausted.
I understand.
This is important. All these things I'm giving you, it's not the first time I've said them, and it won't be the last. I repeat myself a lot, and I know I do. It's not like I'm senile. I know I repeat myself because the more you hear it, the more likely you are to do it inside your own self. And it's reminders. Every week we get reminded, okay, I may have forgot to do one of these steps. That's okay, because you're going to get reminded every week of these steps to do. But the most important one right now in the beginning, and we're going to say we're all beginning. In the beginning, the most important one is to speak truth to yourself. Only truth. If you start telling yourself a lie, recognize it. And then stop yourself and speak truth. And the lies are easy to pop up. They're easy because we've lived them our whole life. We've lived in those stories that we told ourselves. It's always someone else's fault. I couldn't help it. Blah, 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 blah. These are all junk. It's just junk that's not real. So just speak truth. Okay, the truth is I had a thought that created my suffering. Now I'm going to change my thought so I can get out of my suffering. It's easy like that. You just have that conversation. You don't criticize yourself. You're learning, right? You're learning. Everything in life is a teaching. It's teaching us all the time. Everything. We go through a lot of stuff all the time. It's all teaching us. We come in this world, we don't know anything. And now we're learning. We're learning to be happy. We've been taught for a long time in our life how to suffer. We were taught that, like, make no mistake. And any commercial, anything you watch on TV, it's gonna tell you how to suffer, or not feel good about yourself. Oh, we got stuff like Botox, but it's not Botox, but you need to do this because you're getting wrinkles. Who cares you're getting wrinkles? Like, we're all getting older. Why do we need something to make our wrinkles go away? Why? Because we're not good enough? That's what it's saying to us all the time, all the time. But that's not a truth. The truth is, we're going to have wrinkles. So what? Embrace them. I worked hard for my wrinkles, man. I'm 59 years old and I worked every day to get these wrinkles on my face. Right?
Do you think that we're born pure and then we're just taught suffering throughout everything else?
Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
If you look
Yeah.
at children, I mean, just especially the children in Thailand, how they're not contaminated. I mean, the children here are contaminated early on and they're smarter now. And they have all this video phones and all this stuff that get them started being messed up early. In Thailand, I saw loving kindness and respect from the children. I think I heard one baby cry. And I think it's because it was hungry.
Yeah.
But I never heard any disrespect, anything. I mean, it's just,
It's,
they are pure.
And the thing of it is that, like, they take time for family, like everybody every night eats together. The neighbors, like, they all come together. Everybody brings something to eat. It's like potluck every night, Yeah, get cow. Everybody eats together. And then they go home and they go to bed. But they always do that. At nighttime, they get off work. They've worked hard. They work hard. I mean, hard. We don't work hard like they do. I mean, and then they all get together and they eat together. And it doesn't matter that it's 9:00 at night. They don't care. They're going to have a meal together. This is loving kindness. This is being kind to each other and yourself, And they smile and they laugh. And nobody cares that it's late at night. They're eating dinner and they're having fun with their friends. And then they go home. They clean up and go home.
Yep.
And it's every night. There's not a night that doesn't happen.
I enjoyed being able to spend that time eating with the people because, and there's times that I had already eaten. Remember?
Yeah.
And I was like, I just ate, but then to be able to spend that time with the people, I started just taking a little bit. Just so
it doesn't matter. It's not really the food. It's it's just
they're such kind and they love to spend that time with you.
And see, we used to have that here. It used to be like that. And so I think that we can learn from them because and they want so badly to come here and be like us. And I'm like, no, please don't, because we're searching for what they have. We want peace. And don't get me wrong, not everybody in Thailand has peace. There are some that get drunk and they get crazy and that's life. That's the way it is. It's got nothing to do with me. Right? If we know that everything outside of us got nothing to do with us, we have something to do with us. We've got to take a check on us. Outside, that's outside. And if you remember this, I don't care. You have a husband, you have a wife, you have kids. You can love those children. You can love your wife. You can love your husband, but you don't have to take on their problems. Matter of fact, if you address things without taking on their problems, you actually help them. But if you've got two people in their garbage, it's like double garbage and nobody is at peace. But if you come in and you've got peace, especially with children, man, you can just come in with your peace and calm everything down and they see it in you. They follow your lead. You're like, they're golden. They're like, oh, this dude's got it going on, like they already think their parents are up here. They do. But if you show them that you're up here through loving kindness, it's a whole nother level. And I witnessed this in Thailand. Like, those kids respect their parents and their grandparents.
Love 'em.
They'll work their little buns off for them and not even have to ask. They'll just
No,
do
they
it.
don't.
They want to. They want to help. They want to help out. So if you can show from yourself kindness and love, whoever you're with is going to appreciate that, and they're going to want to be like that. Like, they're going to want to be like that, and they're going to want to know the secret, and they will ask you. But you got to finish you first. You got to, when I say finish, we're never actually done, by the way. We're always working on ourselves. We're always, I always evaluate myself. I always take a check on myself. I always try to be better at whatever it is inside myself. I always speak the truth to myself. So, we're always growing. We're always learning. The world teaches you. It's a beautiful place. It's like the greatest education. The universe is our university. It's beautiful. And so if you know that, every day you're learning. So you're never finished, but you get to a point where you're not suffering. And when you're to the point where every day you're not suffering, that's the point where you can start helping people. But
Understood.
Nobody's there yet. We're all still working on not getting sucked into the suffering, But once you get not sucked into the suffering, yes, I welcome more teachers. Like, I'm serious. I would love to have a group of teachers that could help me teach, because the world needs it. But you can't teach if you're not doing. If you start teaching and you're not doing, it's going to come back and bite you. People are going to say, well, you said this, but you did this. And then what can you say? Right. So that's why I say, don't teach until you do yourself. But I'm telling you, I welcome more teachers. It would be the greatest gift ever if everybody were enlightened. It would be beautiful. But, y'all got to do your work. Okay, so it's like 8:05. So you guys want to do a little meditation? All right. I don't have my little bell, so I'm just gonna. We're just gonna wing it because. Sorry, man. Can't help you today. All right. So let's take a deep breath in, get comfortable, and let it out. Take another deep breath in. Let it out. And one more time, take a deep breath in. Let it out. Just relax and let yourself breathe. Follow your breath as you breathe in. Follow it down into your lungs, watching it heal your body, heal the cells that need healing. Breathing out, letting go of all the garbage that you've been hanging on to today. Let it go. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Poo. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Another deep breath in and let it out. One more time. Deep breath in and let it out. Metta ceto imutiya, karuna ceto imutiya, mudita ceto imutiya, ubeka ceto imutiya. Okay, my friends. Have a good week. Try to stay in the truth.